Welcome to the first episode of Conversations with Cody. Something new that I'm trying. He hasn't really nothing to do with it other than being the first guest.
That's right.
Yeah, guinea pigging it out for me.
That's right. When you're big time and you have more equipment and stuff, we can do another one.
No, because then I'll have to pay you. Right now, you just agree to do it.
That's true. You let me have a beer. That's good enough.
Right.
That's
that
payment
counts.
enough.
This is one of those things, and I feel like we see a lot of in news and just in general on social media, whatever it may be, tons and tons of negativity, and that people feed off of that, and it becomes something that people pay attention to and kind of want. But then when you're talking to people, they always talk about how they wish they could see happier things on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever it may be, and that's kind of what I want this to be, is an opportunity for people to sit down, listen to me BS with really interesting, fun people, and make it be something that they can either watch 30 seconds up and shut it off, or watch however long it is or whatever. And we're, in some of these things that I want to do as we continue these, to roll them out every Friday. Some of them will be serious topics, some of them will be less serious, some of them will be family members, whatever it may be. My first guest, though, Jonathan Thomas. Yeah, he hails from Phoenix, I guess. Is that?
Yeah. It's interesting. You said you wanted a fun and interesting guest for your first one, so what am I doing here?
Well, I had to have a guinea pig, and I was like, who is somebody that would be entertaining for at least a little bit?
Yeah,
and
I am your man. If you just need about 5-10 minutes of entertainment, I'm your guy. After that,
done. Yeah, JT and I worked together, and that's actually kind of how this all came together, because you and I spent a lot of time after work sitting around talking about pointless, nonsensical things, and people usually trickle by rolling their eyes or whatever it may be if we're kind of arguing back and forth or whatever, because we're just a little bit different in kind of the way we think in some things. But the way this is going to work, I'm going to break it down into three groupings, and the first one is basically literally just a conversation, because I want people to meet kind of the same interesting, fun people that I've been able to meet in my life. So, with that being said, I'm not going to beat around the bush, you're a sports guy, that's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's important for people to know that, because I started out in sports, so I naturally gravitate towards people who enjoy those things. So, first things first, what is it about sports that kind of drew you in? Because you're not the typical sports fan. You're not the guy that's like, look at all these numbers and here's all the statistics. It's a little bit different, and I think you view it a little bit differently.
I do, absolutely. The thing that drew me into sports, quite simply, was as a kid, I just, when I was a little kid, I used to get picked on a lot and everything, and I don't know, I would just see, people, dribbling basketball, throwing the football around, and I don't know, I kind of just naturally gravitated toward that. For some reason, it wasn't like my parents, my father watched a lot of sports, but he never was like, hey, look at this guy, look at how great this player is, or we're going to be fans of this team. He kind of just did his thing, and, I would just be sitting on his lap or whatever, just looking at it, not really understanding what I was looking at. But I would honestly say, and this is something I'm going to bring up later, I would honestly say video games got me into sports the most. Like I got into sports by osmosis, because like I said, it was around in my household. My sister was a big sports fan as well, so I'd be hanging out in her room. She's older than me, so she would be watching me and everything, and she'd have games on and whatnot. And it intrigued me, but video games, playing Madden 95 and NBA Live 95 for Super Nintendo, that made me want to see what it was about in real life. So that honestly is what really got me into sports, like from a standpoint of like being interested in it, is playing video games, man.
The thing that interests me kind of, and I think a little bit of your gravitational pull though, is that that's such a minute part of who you are, is kind of your sports fandom and the fact that you love sports. Our conversations a lot of times revolve around pop culture-y type of things, and just, even kind of just going back into the past and going, oh my gosh, do you remember this? And the fact that you would bring up, like, Super Nintendo, things like that is very fitting and telling.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's just so funny because my sister gave me Madden 95 Christmas in '94, and I played it, And I don't know why, I just fell in love with it. Like, I just fell in love with it, and then that made me start watching real football, you know. And then same with NBA Live 95, although I already kind of been into basketball a little bit before that, but that just took it to another level where I was like obsessed with finding out who are the people in the game, you know. Like, I played NBA Jam too, but NBA Jam was just more of a fun arcade game, you know. I didn't really put much thought into who was on the court. But NBA Live, since it was an actual simulation, it made me go, who's playing? Who's out here? And then that, you know, grew into actually wanting to play basketball in real life. You know, I started playing when I was 8 years old, and you know, that was one of those things, man. You know, like I was like the first thing I brought up. You know, I used to get picked on a lot as a kid and everything, and I was a sensitive kid too, so I kind of deserved some of it. But you say like one thing to me, and I'd like want to cry. And that's just, you know, for little kids, that's just like, you know, throwing raw meat, you know, at a tiger.
You're the baby of the family, though, too.
I am, so, yeah, I am.
So that probably
that did play a role in it. But but when you play sports, you know, and especially because I was so interested in basketball and I was so, you know, into it, I was pretty good. Like when I started, I wasn't, you know, I was good. So naturally, when you're a kid, when other kids see that you're someone who's good at something, they're not picking on you, and you know what I mean. They gravitate toward you, and so that kind of turned things around. And sports brought me out of my shell. It got me around different kinds of people. You know, the first team I was on, it was kids in the area. You know, it was a rec league, so you know they take. You know, and it's like this everywhere. They take the kids that are in your area, in your neighborhood, or the neighborhood over, or whatever, and you know, round them up, and you go against other areas of the city. And that's, you know, what our team was, and it got me around kids that didn't just live in my neighborhood, but they lived outside of my neighborhood, and it was a really cool experience. And for them to like me, you know, it kind of just boosted my confidence. So,
the fact that you brought up Little League is funny too, because for people who don't know Jonathan, and none of you do except for maybe the folks in Texas who are going to watch this, but you're kind of I don't want to say controlling, but you like to have things in the way you want it, because typically you know how things are supposed to roll out and how things are supposed to work. Yeah. And the other day you were telling a story pertaining to Little League athletics, because you're a much more mature person because you have older brothers, you have an older sister. I mean, that's kind of
older parents.
Yeah. So you were forced to be a little bit older for your age, and you just kind of seem to understand things. And because of that, that would be really frustrating in like youth sports, because you're playing with turd kids who are dumber than a box of candy that don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
you're the same age, and I don't want it to.
No, you're right. Yeah, yeah. When I was 13, just playing on this team with 7-year-olds was really frustrating. Right. No, I mean, sports teaches you so much. And beyond the cliche teamwork and all that stuff, it really does teach you patience, you know, because you really have to learn how to work with others. Like, it's deeper than just simply teamwork. It's like, if someone does something you don't like, you have to deal with it. You can't fight a kid because he makes a mistake every second in practice. Right. You'll mess up the whole practice. You'll get kicked off the team. You can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? They could do that in the NBA and the NFL and Major League Baseball, but you can't do that when you're, you know, in a public rec league, when you're a child. So it teaches you so much about life, and that's really why, as much as I become disenchanted with, especially pro sport, well, college sports too, of course, the NCAA and everything. As much as I can become disenchanted with the way those things work and the business mixing in with sports so much, just the actual pure competition and pure just, you know, art of it to me, because to me sports is art. You know, that's what I always love.
The way we've broken this down is the second portion of how I wanted these conversations is my guests will bring a topic of their choice to discuss. I have no idea what this is about at all, so we're gonna kind of just dive into it, and it's going to make for awkward transitions at times, because it may be something serious and it may not. I don't know going into it, but...
Well, I have to say, I'm not going to talk about anything serious, because I felt like the way you introduced this show, it would be ridiculous of me to bring up something super serious. Because you're like, I just want to have some fun conversations, a lot of negativity on Facebook, and I just want it to be fun. So I'm going to stay away from anything serious right now. I'm totally going to do that. So Facebook, you all can rejoice. You're not going to hear it from me this time. Maybe another time, though, I'll depress everyone.
For sure.
Because you know I'm good for that, too.
So guest choice, what is your topic of choice?
What was your favorite? What was the first video game that you loved? That's not Mario. It has nothing to do with the Mario Brothers franchise.
There was a game called Pitfall. I don't know if you ever played it or remembered it, but I played it on Sega. My uncle. And the only reason I liked it is because I can remember this one spot in the game and nothing really else about the game, except this guy, a little like 8-bit, like dude, would like grab on his rope and you'd have to swing over this like little spot of quicksand, and like I could never do it. And I remember
I don't remember that.
It was a terrible game, probably. But I remember my uncle being able to do it. The problem would be like he would do it and then like you wouldn't get the controller back. So it was like, do you want to play the game and know that you're gonna have to have him do that, or just play a totally different game? So very rarely would my brother and I actually choose to play that game because we knew that it would end up with us not playing the rest of the day. Without Pitfall on Sega Genesis was probably like the first one. There was also another game. It was like I don't remember the name of it, but you were like a ninja and you got to throw like ninja stars, and I thought that was cool as like a little kid.
I don't remember that game at all. Man, you had an interesting video game collection because they're full of games I never heard of.
I was a Sega Genesis guy, but you were like a Nintendo guy.
I was. Now, my brother had a Sega Genesis. He had a Sega Genesis. Pretty much everybody, not everybody, most of the people I knew had Sega Genesis.
We also played on Sega. There was like a Looney Tunes like All Stars game. So it was like a
I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Yeah,
it was awesome. You'd like pick your players, and like each person had some unique like ability they could do, and then you could play like 3-on-3 soccer or 3-on-3 basketball, and like you always wanted to have the Tasmanian Devil because he was like stupid fast and he'd like knock people over when he would spin around.
Yeah.
But then like you'd be playing soccer and like some random blade of grass would pop up and you'd lose the ball and go back the other way with Bugs Bunny or whatever. We played that a lot.
They should do that in MLS. They should have just like a random. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Because it would just be hours of guys rolling around on the ground like, oh no.
Hey, I like some danger with my sports. That's why we watch football, right? And just kidding.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
But you talked about it a little bit earlier, kind of the idea of like, video games being instrumental, I think, for our generation when it came to keeping sports alive to where it is now, because like we always loved watching sports even as little kids, but I remember like playing NCAA football, rest in peace, or like Madden, those games helped teach us how to play the game and learn the rules.
They help teach you the games themselves and the rules and everything. I mean, I remember when I would play like NBA Live 95, my sister and I used to play that a lot. We played that almost every morning before I would go to school. And I always would lose. I used to be so mad. I used to get so mad. A lot of times I would be crying in the car on the way to school, not because of the kids. The other kids.
You were lost and you were going to go lose at school.
Yeah. Pretty much I was a loser from kindergarten through second grade. Yeah. But
those are rough 2 years.
3 years, sadly.
Good point. Yeah.
I mean, I told you the story of my first day of kindergarten where everybody booed me in class. Right?
No, please tell that.
My first day of kindergarten, we had just moved, and I was, you don't dress yourself. So I was wearing, my mom dressed me in a Chicago Bulls shirt and, black sweatpants. It was nice gear, very nice gear. And I showed up. Now that's coming off of the heels of the Suns losing in the finals to the Bulls. Yeah, when John Paxson hit the shot, the 3-pointer in Game 6. So and Phoenix, like back then, man, like Phoenix was obsessed with the Suns. Like it was a basketball city for sure. And I walked into class, and everyone saw that Bulls shirt. Bullseye, man. I mean, they all started booing me. All of them.
Why did you go back to second
boys, all of them booed me. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why at first. And because I was just so in a daze, I was like, whoa. And one of them ran up to me, put 2 thumbs down in my face, and just like flicked the Bulls logo. And I realized then, oh, that's why. The Bulls. Like, I totally put it together.
Brutal kindergarten class ever.
Yeah, man. It was at a Christian school, too. How about that?
Wow. That's rough.
Yeah, man. That's how I started. That's how I started
Kindergarten dropout.
That's how I started my school career, right there.
Wow. I never got booed.
Yeah,
I've never been booed in my life.
You never been booed in your life? I mean, I have when I was older, but that was just basketball games and stuff. But
I just don't do anything that warrants being booed. I've steered myself away from those moments in life where I just kind of set myself up for mediocrity or success.
Give it time, man. Give it time. Give it time.
I do have 2 daughters.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sure my jokes will get booed.
Yeah, they will get booed. Yeah. But what, like I was saying, we would play live every morning, and she would teach me like I remember, because I was losing. Like, I was losing all the time, like I said. So, the graphics pop up with stats, like rebounds. Like, I was losing everything. And she would let me know that. Like, oh, you can't even get more rebounds than me. Look at look at that. And I remember one time, I'll never forget this. I was like, yeah, well, look at that. I'm beating you in that. And it was a graphic that said turnovers. And I was like, yeah. And she started laughing. She laughed right in my face. She was like, that's not good. You don't want turnovers. That's horrible. And I was like, oh. That's how I learned what turnovers were.
By losing.
By losing. Like, I learned, like, oh, when they get the ball, like, if when they steal it from me, I committed a turnover. I didn't know that. I knew they stole. I knew steals, but I didn't understand turnover. I didn't understand that concept.
I feel like if I could build a time machine, I just want to go back and like hug young Jonathan.
You do. Hey, man, I have all kinds of stories like that. I have all kinds of stories of me being bullied when I was a kid. My 3rd grade class chanted "No More Jonathan."
This is a real triumphant story, just the fact that you're sitting at this table today.
I know, and I haven't hurt anyone. I've never committed a violent crime.
Are you friends with any of those people, like, to this point in life? No.
In that class, yeah, actually, technically, yes. In that class, yes. This girl, Jamie, me and her are still friends to this day. I haven't seen her in a long time since I moved, but we still keep in touch once in a while. She's
just waiting somewhere to,
No. She would know. You know what, though? When she moved away, me and her were very close, actually. She was one of my best friends growing up. She moved away. She moved to Fresno. And she came back when I was a junior in high school. And she came to my school. She was at my school, and she asked me if I could help her, show her around and introduce her to people. And I did. I introduced her to people. So she, she made a lot of friends and everything. So yeah, no, man. Hey, we were little kids. I get it. Whatever. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
I hold a grudge.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I think about it. I can recall in vivid detail some of these things.
The way we're going to wrap up these conversations with Cody is I want to break them down, and basically before you showed up and before we started doing this, I asked people on Facebook to submit some questions, and they have no idea who the guest was either, so they just blindly sent questions, and I'm going to ask you a few of those and get your kind of rapid fire answer on them. The first one, ironically enough, is a sports question.
All right.
And I think it's one that a lot of people want to know.
Okay.
Walter Payton or Jim Brown? My grandma asked the question. She's a big Walter Payton fan.
Oh, that is
she can't stand Jim Brown.
That is a good question, man. Wow.
Strictly on the field.
No. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because we all know it'd be Walter Payton if it was off the field. Yeah, Walter Payton, man. I got to go with Walter Payton. I love Jim Brown as a player. I love some of the stuff he's done off the field, and some of it's been deplorable. But anyway, I love Jim Brown as a player, but I think Walter Payton is the great. Well, I don't want to say he's the greatest running back of all time. I personally think Barry Sanders is. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you're a Lions fan.
That's my opinion. Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time, but Walter Payton's right there. Big fan of Walter Payton. The way he carried that team, you know what I mean? He carried that. I mean, he carried the Bears for years before they got a decent team around him. He carried them for years. So I'm all about sweetness, and is still. I know this is cliche to say at this point because everybody knows the story, but it is a crime that he did not get in the end zone during Super Bowl 20. That is a crime.
But we got
Mike Ditka should have to answer for that every single time a camera's in front of him.
But we got a fat guy touchdown.
We did. We got the fridge. Hey, could have got the ball to sweetness. Man, the fridge scored before, so I mean, I don't know why everybody acts like that's such a huge deal.
All right, so Walter Payton.
Yes.
This question comes from Savannah Acosta. She works with us as well.
Oh, okay.
So you'll probably hear from this when she sees it. But if you could have any superhero power in the world, what would it be? I think this is one people think about.
Yeah, for sure. I have thought about this a lot. You know, but mine's boring. I would like to be able to fly.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's really boring. That's what I say. It changes, but the most frequent answer I give is fly.
I feel like that's such a weird answer though, because there are a lot of variables in that. Like how fast are you flying?
I can fly very fast. I can fly very fast. You're an adorable daughter.
My 1-year-old's running around the
But yeah, it. I don't know how fast I would fly. I would fly fast enough to get me from point A to point B quicker than driving.
All right, that's fair. Third question from fellow friend Mason Eubank. Did you do it?
No comment.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Good answer.
Y'all ain't gonna get me caught up. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is just a ploy to try and get you caught.
Yeah, if you thought I was born yesterday.
Pineapple.
I'm young, but I wasn't born yesterday.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yes, I'm a big fan of it. Love pineapple on pizza. Don't understand why people don't like it. I will never understand that. I don't understand why it's such a controversial issue either. Like, so what if you eat pineapple on pizza? And I don't see how it's disgusting. It's good. It tastes good. You got the sweetness from the pineapple mixed with the sauce, tomato sauce, and if you got garlic crust, like, oh man, all that stuff together, that's a good combination. It's tasty. Don't understand that one. Don't know why that's such a controversial. You're giving me this look of disgust. I don't understand.
Final question. Final question. What is one guilty pleasure? Like something that I think nobody would expect from Jonathan Thomas.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Ooh.
I not so much anymore because I just don't have the time. But I used to really be into reality shows, reality TV, and especially like Real Housewives. I was a huge.
So we're talking like trashy reality TV.
Oh,
not like you're like Big Brother.
Yeah, no. I hate Big Brother. No, I was all about Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of New Jersey, Real Housewives of Orange County. I was all about that. I was all about the first season of The Surreal Life.
Yeah.
I was all about that show too. Like I like that stuff. I don't know why. I don't know why because it's so clearly scripted, and I hate fake stuff when they. I don't like that. But I think the Real World got me into that because I was a huge Real World fan growing up. I was a big MTV guy, so I watched like everything on MTV. But the Real World was like my show, and then. It was classy back in the day, and then it devolved, like everything does, I guess. But yeah, I just like trashy reality TV.
This will devolve too. Like if this ever becomes anything, by the time this is worth anything, people watching it, there's going to be like girls on trampolines jumping around, and beer everywhere, and it's just sex sells. But I had you as my first guest, so there's that.
Yeah, there is. Can I ask you real quick, why do you hate pineapple on pizza so much? I just need to get to the bottom of this. What is it? Because I've never heard someone explain why it's so bad.
I think it's the tomato sauce and the pineapple mixing together that just freaks me out. Because I love pineapple with chicken or and maybe.
And I don't like it. Now that I think is gross. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Maybe if it was like a honey, like a sweeter sauce, or maybe even like a cheese sauce. like an Alfredo sauce, that might change things.
Oh,
but it's that tomato
that
sauce with
sounds
the pineapple
terrible.
and then like the mozzarella cheese. It just freaks me out.
Alfred, your wife thinks it's disgusting too. She's looking at me off camera, agreeing with everything.
She puts cheese on everything.
Like Alfredo sauce and pineapple.
The point is,
terrible.
The point is,
that's gross.
pineapple doesn't go on pizza, so you shouldn't have to find a combination for it. I don't know how we got so controversial on the very first episode of Conversations with Cody.
I know we weren't supposed to talk about anything serious. We weren't supposed to rile people up. But you know what? Hey, it fits Facebook, man.
That's true.
This is what it is. You got to be angry about something if you're gonna be on Facebook.
The shares on this will just say pineapple on pizza, yes or no. That's what it's gonna end up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a meme. That look on your face when I was talking about that is gonna turn into a meme.
Oh, well, that's fine. Hey, thank you.
Thank you. This was fun. This was fun. I appreciate it.
Be sure to tune in next Friday around lunchtime. We'll put up another episode of Conversations with Cody. You can also find it on podcasts if you want to listen to it rather than watch it at work. And be sure to join us next time. So, see ya.